Your success can be financial, it could be climbing a mountain, it could be having a family, it could be meeting a partner, it could be anything. Whatever you term your success, doesn't have to be money.
Our guest this week on Business Best Friends is a growth strategist.
If someone is to meet Jamie, how would you introduce yourself?
Dedicated father, wannabe entrepreneur, I suppose. I think that's about it. My life's dead simple. My life revolves around work, kids, sport, and sometimes one's more important than the other.
An entrepreneur and a commercially driven business leader with more than 20 years of experience across Middle East. The CEO of AppLockr ME, Jamie Atherton.
What do you think has been the single biggest transformation so far in digital media in the past 25 odd years?
The industry is a victim of its own success. There is still continually a race to the bottom. Digital is kind of it's been like a roller coaster.
And one advice you would like to leave the young listeners, and they are just navigating into the big bad world, what do you want them to know?
3 things. You be consistent, be disciplined, and you got to work harder than anyone else to get that success. It's only those 3 things.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Business Best Friends. My name is Diji Shijahi. I am joined by the regional CEO of AppLockr ME, Jamie Atherton. Jamie, welcome to Business Best Friends.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're not just the CEO of AppLockr, but you are also the founder of a streetwear brand here in UAE called I'll Write You Letters.
That is true. Yeah, I'm surprised you brought that one up at the start. Yes, I have.
I love the name. What's I'll Write You Letters all about? Let's start there.
Oh, let's start. That's the fun stuff. Yeah, I love talking I'll Write You Letters. Yeah, I'll Write You Letters is a clothing brand that I founded in 2018. It's very much still a weekend. I wouldn't want to say hobby. I wouldn't want to say hobby because it's very much a passion. But yeah, it can only be a weekend thing at the moment because AppLockr is very much, number one and will be priority for a long time. But the name I'll Write Your Letters actually comes from a Japanese idiom, Tagami Kaku Yo. Yeah, so when I was growing up, I was kind of heavily influenced by Japanese streetwear and Japanese street style, and being a bit of a fashion junkie, at the time as well. I was very heavily inspired by that whole kind of Japanese scene. And growing up in the Middle East, I wanted something which resonated with the Middle East crowd, but also kind of had that Japanese kind of feed in. And I found this Japanese idiom, Tagami Kakuyo, which basically is a term of endearment from one friend to another. So when you say goodbye to a friend, we'll say goodbye today, and we'll say, listen, it was really nice to see you. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. They say the exact same thing in Japanese, but they say Tagami Kakuyo. But when you directly translate it into English, it means I'll miss you, I'll write you letters.
I'll write you letters. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's it. So, it's funny, when I see guys in the mall wearing an I'll write you letters hoodie, and they're kind of standing next to each other or walking and they both are wearing I'll write you letters stuff, are kind of like, they get it. Because it's not just a logo on a t-shirt. It has to mean something. I've always been very big on that when designing and in design, that there's no point paying 300, 400 dirhams for a t-shirt and it's just got a logo on it. It doesn't mean anything. There's no depth, So in my design, there has to always have some meaning, some depth. And I think, that kind of term of endearment, that Tagami Kakuyo, I'll write you letters, when people buy I'll write you letters, when they wear it, they get it. And that's important. So yeah, it's very much more than a hobby. It's absolutely a passion. I absolutely love it. And it does, at the moment, kind of go from strength to strength each month. So, hopefully that continues.
I've seen it. You're in Namshi, you're on Circle Mall, you're in lots of places.
Yeah, very supportive stores. I think that's a real nice Dubaiism as well. I've been here a long time, and I think Dubai is, kind of Dubai just gets together. Dubai just kind of gets together and helps push the smaller guy, which we are, the local brand. And I think Namshi have been incredible at that. Namshi have been incredibly supportive, very hands-on. For such a big business, for such a big e-com platform like Namshi, they've been very, very, very good for us. And yeah, we've been in a few stores. Our latest store is in JVC Mall, Cords. They're a concept store. The guys there are, they get it. They're really underground. They like the young youth kind of local. They love local brands. And I think everything in there is quite local anyway. They're also, again, very supportive, and they help us build our community, which slowly gets bigger and bigger. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I'll definitely come back to I'll write you letters. But right now, if someone is to meet Jamie, how would, or, they've got 1 minute, let's say, to know you, how would you introduce yourself?
Are they a stranger, or have they known me from the past? Because this could be dodgy. I'm only joking. No, this is no. I think this is an easy one. I mean, everyone knows me for what I am. I think, which is,
Let's say outside the CEO title, who is Jamie?
outside the CEO title. Okay, dedicated father, wannabe amateur sportsman, and wannabe entrepreneur. I suppose. I think that's about it. My life's dead simple. My life revolves around work, kids, sport, and sometimes one's more important than the other. It's normally kids. I mean, listen, kids are the most important, the priority, but sometimes at some point of the day, my training's most important. The other times, I've got a few meetings that's most important. But essentially, it's those three things. They are my Jamie brand pillars.
Okay.
Which is business, kids, and sport. That's it.
Yeah. No, I always say there's seasons, different seasons for everything. A season can be in a day itself, right? Different seasons that you have to give to your family or your work. And in all this, what's one thing that people have assumed about you that's completely not true, like completely wrong?
Assumed about me that's not true. I think I've been very lucky over the last 20 years. So I've been here for 25. The first 5 years I actually worked in football. Because I was a failed footballer in the UK, and I found myself out here actually as a part of the backroom coaching staff for a local football team in Nadi Alain. And then the last 20 years has been essentially in digital media. I've been very lucky in that when I first started in digital media, digital was 1 to 2% of the media mix of spend. And now it's like 51, 52%. So with the growth of that, my career grew organically. Well, not because I was any I was that good at it.
Yeah.
But it certainly helped me on my trajectory.
Right, of course.
And I've been very lucky to found digital media businesses. I've been very lucky to run them, whether it's CEO, MD, or T-boy, or whatever you want to call it, right? But I've been very lucky to be quite successful in digital. I think one of the things that people think about me, which is totally untrue, is that I have a huge villa and drive a Porsche and holiday in the Bahamas. That's not true, because they obviously don't know the price of school fees, and I have 4 kids. So no, I get a lot of requests for investment into businesses, and it's not that I don't invest in businesses at all. I've obviously done okay for myself, but yeah, I think there's certainly an idea of myself sometimes that I have way more to go around than it.
That it's actually there. Okay. Yeah,
for sure.
School fees and you're
school
talking
fees
you're preaching to the
yeah. I think that's one of the things about Dubai. I mean, obviously it's just evolution, but I've been here since 2001, and prices have obviously fluctuated quite heavily in everything.
Yes.
But it's just evolution.
All right, which brings us to work, and let's say you've been part of Yazzle and also Naptics, right? So you've scaled Yazzle and Naptics across GCC. What lessons have you learned? Like, what was your biggest lessons from scaling these 2 organizations across GCC?
Be humble. Be humble. Like, ego doesn't go anywhere. I mean, I have been the MD or the CEO or whatever, but if I need to put the kettle on and make the tea, I will. If I need to, do whatever needs to be done to get things across the line, you do that, right? And it's also, you got to be good to people. People communications and being good with people, extremely important when you're trying to lead a business.
Be a leader.
Be a proper leader and a director and a supporter. I think one of the best things I ever did early on in my career was, when I was trying to be a good leader, trying to figure out how to be a good leader, right? Because no one taught me, I just tried to figure it out, right? Was having KPIs for my team. They're really simple. KPIs are, okay, hit the sales targets, make commission, whatever, right? That's the bog standard stereotype. I tried to do things a little different, which was, you want to make commission? Well, what do you want to do outside of work? Well, I want to run a marathon. Great. I'm going to get you running a marathon. You're going to do London. I'm going to fly you over. You're going to do it. Then you'll get your commission. or I want to climb Everest, or I need to learn a new language. So each one of my guys I've had in my team over the years have had something like that to achieve. And I think that when they've gone on to other things, they've actually grown. So it's always been important for me, for my guys to grow in the workplace, but
Yeah.
also grow outside of it, especially in sports, because I find there's a direct correlation between healthy mind, healthy body, and vice versa. So yeah, so that's, I think, one of the things that I think has helped me grow across the businesses. And one thing I've found out for sure, when navigating my way through kind of senior leadership.
Right. And then after about 5 years with Yazel, you've stepped down and now you are the regional CEO of AppLockr. What is AppLockr all about?
AppLockr is a fantastic business. I've been so excited. I knew the guys at AppLockr and the kind of the group company for the past 5 years. We've always talked about Dubai and digital and next thing, because they're based in the UK. And now finally we got to launch over here, which is excellent. AppLockr is a ad tech AI one-stop solution for apps. So you could be a startup app, you could be an SME, you could be a well-revered app with lots and lots of downloads, lots of followers. But as you grow the app business, you normally have to use various third parties to help you grow. Well, AppLockr is a one-stop solution all under one aggregated platform. So if you need monetization, if you need funding, if you need instant payments, buying media, selling media, data, compliance, security, is all under one platform. So, we like to term it, and especially I like to term it, as your commercial co-founder. I think we work a lot with gaming studios at the moment because they produce lots of gaming apps,
Yes, lots of apps,
quickly.
Yeah.
And what you find with gaming developers and app developers is that these guys are incredibly clever. These guys are super clever when they can code and build games. I wouldn't know where to start. These guys are really clever. But when it comes to their business starting to grow, they then need to be monetized. They need to make money. They need to understand the security side, the data side. They need to hire people, need marketing, and it's like they have to go to all these different third parties. So we are essentially a help for them. That's it. I mean, obviously we're a great solution, but it's more of a, I like to think of AppLockr as being more of a partner to these guys than anything else, and yeah, so far so good. We're under a POC at the moment. We launch full launch at the end of the year. And to be honest, I mean, obviously our write letters excites me, but the future of AppLockr in the short and medium term, and obviously in the long term, in a few years' time, really excites me. It's good.
Is that what drove you to this new venture? Like, it's completely new compared to what the organizations you've been part of before.
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a few reasons. Listen, I'm only going to give you honesty and transparency, right?
That's what we want here. Yes.
That's the best way to come across.
Yes.
There was a couple of things. The first thing was the people.
Mm.
First thing was the people. I have a fantastic group CEO, incredibly clever and just constantly moving forward. I have an amazing chief commercial officer. I have an amazing chairman. Like, the whole leadership team I work with are just so clever, man. Like, they're so clever. And I think when you can be around people like that, it's going to rub off on you and you're going to grow as well. So I get to be with these guys every day on a call, or here or back in London. So yeah, the first thing was being part of that. I've also got an amazing CTO, I should mention, Matt. He's just so clever, man. So yeah, I've got a great team. So that was the first thing was people. I knew I was going to be with very, really good people. The second thing was the direction, and what we were building. It's totally proprietary, this thing. Like, we're not just white labeling something and selling it on and making a margin, which is what we've kind of been doing in media for a long time. It's kind of what the digital media industry has become, which is a shame. But no, this is something which we've built, which we're building every day, and which will take to market as something which is incredibly unique. There's a very strong, unique selling proposition to the platform, which is, it's nothing like it in the world, and there's a big high demand for it. So yeah, first of all was the people. Second was the product and the tech. And the third, I'd say, is, where we want to be. I believe in having a BHAG, and a BHAG is a big, hairy, audacious goal, and, we have a huge BHAG. So that's a case of, like, I wouldn't want to be with a business which is great. Let's do $1 million and everyone's happy. $1 million, I can mean $10, $1 million, $1 billion, right? But it's like the sky's the limit. so you can continually push forward. And I'm the type of guy that likes to continually push forward and keep going, keep going, keep going. So those three reasons really. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to be there, and can't wait just to keep moving forward with the business, to be honest.
And see where it goes. You mentioned, we touched upon the fact of being a good leader and, your team being very important. Has there been moments has there been one moment where you truly judged yourself or doubted yourself as a leader?
Yes, that's a really good question. Um, there's been a few. Yeah, because I think, like I said earlier, like no one taught me to be leader. I studied sport at uni. I didn't study business or management. I kind of fell into.
Into leadership.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Adzuk, which was a business I co-founded in 2011, and I joined as the commercial director because I'm a sales guy, right? It's true. I'm just a
Yeah.
sales guy.
End of the day, we're all sales.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we all
sales.
work in sales.
Yes.
But the business grew quite quickly, and I found myself being told, "Okay, you're going to be the managing director, so this is what's going to happen." I was like, "Okay." So I kind of found my way into it, and I was like, "God, I just figured this out." So I think there's a few times, especially in my earlier career of especially managing Adzuk, which was dealing with people I didn't particularly like. And by that I mean just not very nice, just not very nice people. And I find that when you're a good leader, you have to kind of turn that into a positive and do the business anyway. And I found that sometimes I would just say I ain't working with them, for whatever reason. It was probably to the detriment of the business. And I
Did you
think
say it was like emotions? Wait,
no, it
did
was
your emotions
it was ego.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
my ego
right.
getting in the way.
Mm.
I think I think I'd turned the early businesses into successes quite quickly, and I think I had a bit of young Dubai ego. Yeah, and I think it's good I actually went through it because I think I'm quite humble now. I think the kids really kick the
they do
kick
that.
the
They
ego
kick it
out
out
of
of you.
me. Yeah,
Yes.
and I think I think the ego got a hold of me a few times, and I think that was one thing I learned was to be humble. Be humble because when you're humble, it'll all work out. And I think as I progressed further through Yazoo, through Naptics, looking after a fantastic team at Naptics, Yazoo and Naptics, by the way, I really miss those guys. I think that humbleness only has made me a better leader.
And you've been in the digital media space since what, 2006?
Yes,
2006.
2006.
Yeah, and you've witnessed
Yeah.
everything from the banner ads to
Oh, a
AI
lot.
powered programmatic advertising.
What I used to sell banner ads for.
Oh my
those
God, yes,
so
the
good,
banner
yeah.
ads.
The glory days of digital.
Yeah, those were the glory days. But what do you think has been the single biggest transformation so far in digital media in the past 20, 25 odd years?
I don't know if this is the right answer, but I think the industry is a victim of its own success. There is still continually a race to the bottom. Digital is kind of it's been like a roller coaster. It grew very, very quickly. ICPMs, branding, and it became known as, well, wait a minute, if we can buy outcomes through digital, why are we branding? So then it became, an outcome only opportunity, and that's not right. Because it's not. You can brand on digital. You take these great top end publications here, like Arabian Business and Reuters, et cetera. You brand through them. They're not performance driven publications. And this is where it's got now. It's got to a point where I think agencies and some brands are willing to pay the bottom dollar in a hope to get in front of someone, and that really starts to degrade their brand equity when you associate the brand with very negative content that can come when buying low-end traffic through programmatic. So I think, it's a victim of its own success. I think obviously there's been a lot of technology when it comes to programmatic that has aided in this race to the bottom.
Yes.
There's way more publishers, there's way more ad networks still. There's way more DSPs, way more places to find your inventory, and all that just means that everyone has to, kind of push down their margin, which is a shame because sometimes the smaller guy won't win even if they have a better offering. So I think the industry, as digital specifically, has to, and I'm talking the region here, has to have a real hard look at itself and have a big upgrade, because otherwise, the big guns,
Just gonna
Google and
swallow it.
Meta, are
Yeah.
just going to slop it all up like
Yeah.
they have done for years, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. And how does this region, Mina, in terms of ad tech or in-game branding, how does this region differ from the rest of the world?
I actually think we're quite advanced here. Yeah, I think we match up to Northern Europe and the States in terms of ad tech. I think Northern America and Europe still lead the way. But in terms of how campaigns are run and optimized, we're as good here as we are anywhere else.
Yeah, but margins are pretty low, right? Comparatively.
Yes, but there's a reason for it. It's because there's not one middleman. There's 10.
There's no
There's
what?
not one middleman. There's 10.
Yes.
So that's the
Yes. Welcome
problem.
to UAE. Welcome to
Welcome to
Mina.
you.
Yes.
Everybody wants a
Yes.
cut. Yeah, I'm not saying that doesn't happen across the world, but it's prevalent here. An impression gets sold to someone, then it gets sold to someone else, then to A, then to B, then to C, then
Yes.
to D,
Yes.
and by the end, the margin's cut because everyone's taking a dollar, and that's one of the main problems here. And there's very little you can do about it, unless clients do very, very strong due diligence. And that's still not really happening.
No. And with AI made advertising that's been, splurging the market right now, do you think it's making advertisements more creative, or will every brand end up looking like the other?
No, I'm like, listen, I embrace AI. Some of the AI we built within AppLockr, it's not ad driven, but it's incredible. Like, it's incredible. No, I think, listen, AI is obviously here to stay, right? But I think one of the most common misconceptions on AI is that it's going to take over resources, going to take
Yes.
over humans.
Yeah.
When it's not. It's not going to take over humans. It's actually going to educate a lot of really good designers, because you need a manual input into it. They're doing great courses now on AI. From next year in UK universities, you're doing degrees in AI. So, it's I think AI is only going to make it bigger and better for media across the globe, whether that's building creative, or optimizing. At AppLockr, we'll have an AI, built-in AI into the platform, which will run your ad campaigns for you. Which will find you the right media, which will um, assist your ops team on where to go and why this is not working, why this is working. So AI will only help brands, it will only help ad agencies, but you have to adopt it.
Yes.
And it's a funny one. The last couple of weeks ago, I finally got a subscription to Claude. I was like,
Finally.
finally, it's like
Yeah.
$99 a month. I was like, just stop asking Claude to do stuff. It doesn't do it really. He said, AI's rubbish. But when you learn a little bit about it, like, the opportunities are absolutely endless. But I think the days are gone now already where you can just plug a prompt into ChatGPT, and it will do something amazing for you. It's not. You have to learn how to prompt. You have to learn how to do this specifically, and then you get quality. Otherwise, you'll just get generic stuff. So yeah, that's where the trick is to AI. You've really got to learn it.
Yeah. And we always say it's not AI that's going to make jobs obsolete. It's the person who knows how to use AI better.
Yes, exactly. That's
going to
exactly what it is.
make all the difference. Now, let's say if you were building a digital media company from scratch now, what things would you do different, knowing what you know?
Hire great people first. Just hire great people. Hire people that you potentially know, you trust. I don't think in the sales environment, if I was building a media house now, it was built on sales revenue through advertising, right? Because that's all I know,
Yes.
right? I don't think there's such a thing as a sales manager anymore. I think you have to bring in into any business. You don't have sales managers. You have valued brand ambassadors, because these guys go out and they represent your brand, right? You could be a great salesperson, but if you don't get on with the buyer, like, I ain't working with that guy. You know what I mean? That's what, going back to Naptics for a minute and Yazoo, that's what we had. And that's what Naptics still have. They're a great team. Shout out to those guys, Tom and his team. They're all valued brand ambassadors. And I know that when they were going in to see an ad agency or a client, the client would go away going, I like that guy. I want to do business with him. So yeah, if I was going to build a business now, and like I will be doing with AppLockr when we start to hire more people, more resource, I will be making sure we get good people, but like, I mean, ethically good, morally good,
Yes.
and clever. And I know that when they go in somewhere, they're going to go, that's the guy I want to do. I want to do business with. So yeah, I would just hire good people. It's worth the extra couple of thousand dirhams a month,
Yes,
you know?
it is. And how big is the team now here in globally and here?
Um, globally, you know what? I won't want to put a number on it because we're still growing. But I mean, we launch fully at the end of this year. So by the end of this year, we'll be doing quite a big. Um, well, I would need to speak
Yeah.
to
Yes.
quite a few recruiters to bring in some people for me. Yeah, because I won't be doing it myself. Not no chance. I'll be hiring a third party for that. But no, we'll be getting a load of people by the end of the year. Mainly, you know, as brand ambassadors across the whole remit. To be honest, accounting, finance, HR.
Yeah. Okay. We read somewhere that your management philosophy is heavily inspired by Rockefeller's habits.
It is.
It
Yes.
is.
Wow.
So
You've done your research. This is
we
great.
have done our research. So you
Yeah.
emphasize more on data, rhythm, structure.
Mm.
How has this approach helped you in your leadership style?
Oh, right.
I also
Great
have
question.
a follow-up question to that.
All right,
but,
great question.
But let's get with this now.
All right.
Yeah.
Mastering the Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish changed my life. Like, changed my life. And I'll tell you a story about it. So my mentor is a good friend of mine called Paul Kenny. Paul Kenny is an Irish guy. He's back living in Dubai now. I saw him the other week. He was the ex-founder and CEO of Cabone.
Okay.
Don't even remember Cabone.
Yes.
So
yes.
Paul and I used to work together at AME Info, which was a B2B website back in kind of mid 2000s. Love working there. It was great. That were the days of like the $400 CPM email shots. Great.
Yeah.
Massive commissions.
Yeah,
Great
huge
days.
commissions, huge
Yeah,
margins.
Huge.
Yes.
And Paul and I used to work together there. And then I remember Paul telling me he was leaving one day, and he said, I'm going to go and do this thing. It's kind of a bit like Groupon, but better. I went back to my team and I was like, I'm going to believe what Paul's doing. It's crazy. It's never going to work. Anyway, obviously ended up being this amazing big thing.
Yes.
Cabone was a huge success. And at Adzook, I hadn't seen Paul for a while. And at Adzook, I was told, right, you're going to be the managing director. This is what's going to happen, like I said earlier. And I was like, really, I'll just carry on what I'm doing and figure it out. I reached out to Paul. I said, mate, I know I've not seen you for years. I know you're big shot now. I could really do with your help. I'm about to be the MD. I'm about to start running the business. I've got 10 people. I need some guidance. He came back like 5 minutes later. Let's go have coffee. No worries. And he brought me the book.
Oh.
And he said, listen, read this book. Read this book. Go through it. You'll love it. And I was telling him all about the business. He was giving me all this great advice. Great dude. Love him to bits, Paul. And he gave me all this great advice and said, listen, read the book. I read the book. And it literally blew my mind. It was like, this is it. And it's not hard. It is data. It's rhythm. It's structure. It's making sure you have your meetings on time. It's making sure everyone has KPIs. Everyone is on your own. Everyone is on your direction and going towards your goal, and you're controlling that. And you're supporting them. You're directing them. And there's things like what mastering the Rockefeller habits taught me was that it's very easy to promote the structure. But when you get the structure, the money follows. You actually don't ever think about the money. And in a media sales house where it's all about sales boards and selling stuff, you actually don't think about sales. You just think about the structure, and the sales follow. And I remember when it was first happening, I remember looking at the board, like it was coming up to Christmas, the really busy time, in the media. I remember looking at the board, I was like, we can't fit. And it was all small at the bottom, the extra bookings which are coming in because there wasn't enough space. I was like, no one's even talking about each of those campaigns. It's just naturally happening because we're on the structure. So yeah, mastering the Rockefeller habits absolutely changed the way I manage teams, the way I manage the business, the way I was with people. And that was all really thanks to Paul. If I hadn't reached out to Paul, and luckily, because of that, when I left the Naptics business, the commercial director there, who's also a good friend of mine, Tom, shout out Tom, I gave him the book.
Oh, you did?
I bought a book for him and I gave it to him. Yeah, and Tom is he won't mind me saying this, but he's a very good talent. Tom is a talent. I don't think he really knows it, but he's a great salesperson, but he's also a very valued brand ambassador too. And I think I know he will adopt some of the great things in Vern Harnish's book, and he'll grow from strength to strength as well. But I remember giving it to him, and I remember when Paul gave it to me, I was like, this is quite a nice moment for me. This is quite nice. Kind of feel like I've actually done something,
Yeah, paying it forward.
So yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, paid it forward. So yeah, that was Mastering New Habits was a huge success for me, and absolutely was one of the secrets to any kind of success I've had.
Yeah, no, because it's really difficult to be the right leader. And nobody teaches you that. There's no course for that, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, there are courses for it. You can go to uni and become a leader, but until you're in there, like you don't get it. And I really was just thrown into it. I was like, I'll just figure it out. I mean, I used to captain sports teams, right? So I kind of had some kind of idea. And you know what? It's pretty much the same thing. You know, to get behind everyone, direct them, support them, have their back. You know, one day you can be the captain, the next day you're bringing them the oranges at half time. It's exactly the same thing. It's just a work environment.
True. And what happens with many companies when they start, the startups per se, they don't focus on the structure much. They just focus on everything else and sales and how to put it. And I think that's where many companies go wrong. Or would you?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it all depends on who the founder is.
Yeah.
You know, co-founders are. You know, AppLockr, again, we're a very strong leadership team. So there's a lot of structure. There's a lot of data. There's the support and direction, but there's also a lot of ownership. So it's like, I know it's only going to go one way. But yeah, listen, I've been at businesses where, you know, I've seen it firsthand. It's chaos, you know, and you just can't have that. It's going to go nowhere, and it's going to go nowhere very fast. So yeah, you have to make sure that you've got everything down from day one. And if you don't, then, you know, you're going to struggle.
So my follow-up question to that was, in today's fast-moving world, do you still believe that intuition is important, or is data-driven results more important?
Oh, okay. Another great question. I'd say it's 90-10 data.
Okay.
90-10 data. Your intuition, yeah. I think your intuition can get you so far, but you need the data to back up, because data does not lie. Science doesn't lie, you know, and that's it. You know, if you feel, I'm trying to find a good example.
Has there ever been a decision where data couldn't make a decision for you? At any time when data couldn't make a decision for you, you had to rely on your intuition?
Yeah. There's been a few. Do you know what? Outside of the work arena, I think kids' exams. You know, I remember a few years ago, one of the kids, I won't mention who, because they're all beautiful. You know,
one of the four.
Yeah,
you know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. They got an exam result which was very much below par, not expected. You know, all the data and the science that led up to that was they're going to do amazing in this. They're going to pass it, no problem. But they really miserable, badly. And I asked them about it after, and they came to me and was like, just don't know. I didn't revise this bit. I didn't revise that. And my intuition said, I think they've probably revised the wrong things. They've probably done this wrong. They've probably been very mistaken. If they were going down what they should have done, they would have got a better result. So there, the data didn't exactly lie. But my intuition was, I've got to give them a break here, because I don't think it's their fault. That's a real cop out of me to say, because I didn't want to give you a work example. But in the work environment,
it's always been data.
Gotta be, yeah. Data does not lie. The science does not lie. You know, you can. I say, you know, and I've said to my old guys in the past, on the commercial side, when we're doing kind of annual deals with brands or annual deals with agencies, you know, it's 90% science, 10% common sense. That's it. So when you're doing forecasts, especially for the year, and you're looking at forecasts, it's like, okay, I'm just going to take some numbers out of the clouds now. We did 1 million last year. Okay, well, listen, we can do it. We're amazing. We'll do 5 this year. How? How are you going to do 5? Oh, we're going to do it. How? What does the data say? Well, the data says we might make an extra 20%. Okay, so you do 1.2 million this year. Data and the science will never die. But you got to have a little common sense and say, okay, well, that 1.2, maybe we could push it to 1.3 with a new product here, new product there. We've got a new buyer here. Maybe we push it to 1.5. That's your best. And that's how the data, science, and common sense.
And do you also implement this with I'll Write You Letters and your brand?
To be honest, yes.
You do?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do. Because you have to look at sales numbers, and you have to have a look at what the global trends are. right? But ultimately, with our writing letters, I try to make it very simple because I only design what I like to wear. I only design what I like to wear. And if you don't like it, it's fine. Hey, no worries. Go and buy another brand. This is what I like. Luckily, other people like it. So,
Yes,
but
luckily
yeah, no,
people like it
I
too.
only design what I want to wear. And in the early days of our writing letters, the first few years, everything I designed had a backstory. Yeah, everything had a backstory. So there was a real meaning to everything I designed. Not so much anymore because I'm just kind of designing what I like. But we had a golden sweater which had a backstory to it. We had a t-shirt, a very very bog standard black t-shirt with a black camo um, pocket, which was inspired by the old um, creative director and founder of a brand called The Bathing Ape, a guy called Nigo, who's now the creative director of Kenzo and Human Made. And it was a kind of nod to his kind of camouflage days of Bathing Ape. So yeah, everything used to have a kind of meaning to it. But yeah, without writing letters, it's I can't really say it's all data and science led. I do look at sales numbers, but again, I create what like
You like to wear, yeah. And now it's been 100% made in it's always been made in UAE, but
always
now you
been
source
yeah.
everything from UAE as
It's
well.
always been, I think that's a big thing for the brand.
Mm.
I wanted it to be a real Dubai brand. Yeah, that's important. This is my home. Like, I'm from the UK, right? But I've lived here for 25 years. This is my home. Like, this is Al Watan. This is my homeland. And that's really important. And I think,
The villas are here.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, all the kids were born here. They're all educated
Right.
here.
Yeah.
This is where, I've never worked in the UK. I came out here straight from university, like all those years ago. So, like, this is home. And I think that was really important when I was creating my own brand. I wanted it to be a Dubai brand because Dubai's done everything for me. Like, I'm here purely because of like the whole Dubai getting around you and helping you and all that kind of stuff. So, no, it's very important that our writer letters was a Dubai brand, even though it has a Japanese influence. It's a Dubai brand. I used to buy fabric from abroad. I used to buy from India, Bangladesh, Canada, a lot from Shibuya in Japan, which is amazing fabric, so expensive.
Yes.
But now, we're just about to launch a range of short sleeve shirts and wide leg pants for fall winter, which is dropping October, November, December. Drop 1, drop 2, drop 3, and we're actually buying the fabric from Satwa. I found this amazing, amazing guy in Tatwa, and the fabric is incredible. It's some of the best fabric I've ever had. So now it's sourced in Dubai, stitched in Dubai, embroidered in Dubai, and sold in Dubai.
Awesome. And
Yeah,
is it just for it's unisex?
it's unisex. Yeah,
Unisex. Okay.
it's obviously male driven, but you find now with contemporary kind of minimalist streetwear that, or just contemporary minimal wear, it's very unisex. I mean, our customers can be 16-year-old high school girls who wear hoodies to the 40-year-old guy who wants to look cool on the street. So yeah, we have a very diverse customer audience.
Awesome. How has being an entrepreneur changed how you behave as a CEO or vice versa?
Again, another really really good question. Um, I think listen, as an entrepreneur, you just can't stop. You don't stop. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a 9 to 5. It's lucky because I like what I do. I actually love what I do. I love working at AppLockr. I love doing the outright letter stuff. I love being a dad. It's the best thing in the world you can ever do is being a good parent. I love like my crazy sports I do. I like to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I like to just crack on and move on. And if I'm not one of those guys who will just sit on the sofa and watch the TV. I might do for half an hour, watch a bit of golf or a bit of Sky Sports, but see how England are doing in the World Cup, that kind of thing. But I then get thinking, I've got something I can do. So I think as an entrepreneur or as a leader, or as a CEO, or as a boss, whatever, you can't turn off. Some people do like to turn off, which is absolutely, you like to go party and have a brunch at the weekend
your
or
life,
whatever you want
yes.
to do. Like, but then that role's not for you. Like, not everyone is made to be an entrepreneur. The other great thing, and this is a great thing about entrepreneurship, is that you work your socks off for very little reward for a long time.
Tell me about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it happens for a long time,
Yeah.
But then that one little glimmer of something that just keeps you going, and I think that's one of the kind of beautiful ironies about entrepreneurship is that you really do have to work your backside. You have to go through the stuff which you really don't like to get to the good stuff. I call it, or I term it, you've got to get comfortable by being uncomfortable. You have to do the really uncomfortable things to get to the really good stuff. And that's just entrepreneurship. You've got to, stiff up a back, crack on and move forward. And you don't have a choice, especially when it's your own business. Right? If you are say I was relying on our write letters to bring me in, sales, and I could pay myself something at the end of the year. I don't make any sales one day, then I'm struggling. Then I've got to do something about it. But that's what entrepreneurship teaches you. Just get stuck in. If you don't get stuck in, it ain't gonna.
Yeah. And being an athlete also, I think you've been able to, because athletes make great leaders, as you rightfully said. You've represented Great Britain in triathlons and also MMA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah. I do all these kind of crazy sports. Yeah. I know. I think there's a real, like I said earlier, there's a direct correlation between being an executive in the work arena.
Black belt in MMA.
Say again?
You've got a black belt.
I do. Yeah.
MMA.
I have a black belt in Filipino martial arts, and I study Muay Thai as well. Yeah.
How has that inspired you to be a great leader?
Again, it's kind of one of those things where, I think MMA's and boxing, especially because I used to box too, I think that's a great example of you have to start getting comfortable by being uncomfortable. There's nothing more uncomfortable than being in a fight.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it, right? But I love the training, I love the competition of boxing. I used to box a lot. I love the competition, the sparring of Muay Thai, because it's really uncomfortable. It's not nice, but there's something about it which just drags you back. And I think by doing that often enough, you become really comfortable in doing it. And then that kind of directs itself into being comfortable in the workspace, where you can if you can sit in front of like a 19-year-old kid and he's boxing your head off, you can do a panel in front of 1,000 people at an event. Do you know what I mean?
I'm actually going to ask you, does combat sports actually help you more in negotiations than business books will ever do?
Absolutely, but because it gives you that confidence, because, like I said, if you can be beaten up by some teenager in my academy, which I have all the time, by the way, which happens all the time, then you can be comfortable in front of doing anything. I think, like I said, there's a direct correlation between like executive sports and executive-led sports and executive work. Healthy mind, healthy body, etc. The triathlon, I think, was probably the start of it. Like, I was an absolute triathlon freak back in the day. Racing for Great Britain was absolutely fantastic. It was so much fun, but the hours you have to put into triathlon to get anywhere, it's 3-4 hours a day training after work, especially as an amateur. And I think that definitely led into helping me become a better leader and CEO, because again, it's just you have to be uncomfortable to get to a comfortable place. All these mad crazy sports, whether it's combat sports or kind of elite level triathlon, all leads into being a decent leader.
And how is that how does that help to show up as a great father with your kids? Do you embed the same kind of discipline in them?
Listen, that's again another ace question. The MMA, I used to box as a kid, kind of stopped it when I was around 15, and then took over, like football took over, because I'm so stereotypically English. And then I started back up about 8 years ago and found this amazing academy. I've got a fantastic coach, Coach YL. I started it, one, for me personally, because I needed something at the time, but also to inspire the kids. Like, I'm 50 next year, right? I took up martial arts when I was 42, 43. And I thought, this is going to take me years, but I will become a black belt. I'll have all this great knowledge. It's not like I don't like to fight, don't get me wrong, but I will always have something in the back burner. If I have to protect my children, if I have to protect my friends, it's there if I ever need it, right? I wanted the kids to see that as, I wanted the kids to be inspired by that, not because dad has all this knowledge, but that, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. Dad put his mind to this. He was like 42, he's nearly 50, he's a black belt. So if I have something to do, then put my mind to it, I can achieve that too. So it was really important for me that the kids looked at that as not that dad likes to fight, but dad is inspiring us to do whatever we want and work hard to achieve
whatever age.
Absolutely. They've kind of flirted with it on and off as well. And, we do have a thing that, with Myla, especially my eldest, I've told her, she's off to uni next year. She needs 3 months of training before she goes anywhere. She needs an extra belt. She needs to get to a yellow belt before anything. So they will have some kind of knowledge. But yeah, it was all really to inspire the kids and kind of my own kind of self healing for some things at the time as well.
And they're all into sports?
Yeah, they're all really
Football.
sporty.
Okay.
Like again, like we're so stereotypically English. The house revolves around football. Right? My two boys are massive footballers. My eldest boy Archie is 15. He's an excellent footballer, really good footballer. He's 15, 6'1", taller than me, super beautiful human being. They all are. But yeah, we're all mad footballers. So as you can imagine, at the moment, the whole house is
Is it coming
revolving around the
home?
World Cup.
Is it coming home?
It is absolutely coming home.
Okay, we'll see that.
Absolutely, this is our best chance in forever. There's so much heartache I've had
Yes.
since I watched my first England game in the World Cup in 1986, right when I was 9, and we lost in the quarterfinals to Argentina. I remember that night I was absolutely heartbroken, and I've waited. We've lost the last 2 Euro finals. We lost in the quarterfinals 4 years ago in Qatar to France. This is the year that
Okay.
I can finally
Let's hope.
touch words. Yeah. So yeah, it's coming on. Let's do it.
Okay, let's hope it's coming home. What do you think separates entrepreneurs, like the ones who actually go forward? You see a lot of people starting things and then they just stop, they just disappear. What separates the ones who survive and the ones who don't?
Got to keep going. Like the ones who don't survive. If you don't, well, first of all, if you don't believe in what you're doing, don't start it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. But when you start a business, and this is our write letters again is a great example. Our write letters is completely different now to when I started years ago. You have to have the ability to learn how to pivot, right? But you also got to learn that you have to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You've got to go to bed at midnight if that's what it's going to take. If that's what it's going to take. Literally, if it's in a spot where you are thinking that entrepreneurship is great because I can get an hour by the pool in the afternoon, or I can play golf here and I'll be fine. Yalla, I'll do this tomorrow, inshallah. It ain't gonna work. Like you've got to be on it. You've got to lock in and know that this business of yours, if it's not a unicorn, this is going to take me years of really hard graft. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people are just not up for that. They're just not up for it. I think it's probably a minority of people that are up for that, and that's what separates them.
And I also see a lot of people, just like you touched on, they stop growing after they see their first success. And that's also a huge downfall because you need to
Yeah.
keep growing, right?
Oh yeah.
What do you think is the biggest lie that social media tells us now about entrepreneurship?
Oh, it's just easy. That it's easy. Like social media's. I'm a big believer in quality content across social media. It's just a shame at the moment. I don't think there's enough of it. But no, like entrepreneurship is taught at the moment across social to be the easy win, and it's not. It's anything but the easy win. Like you have to really believe in what you're doing, and you have to understand this is going to take a long time, and it's going to take some long hours. And there are things that you love doing, you're going to have to say no to. You can't go out at night. No, I've got to go to this event. Oh, I don't really want to. You got to go to the event.
You have to. Yeah.
That's it. You got to lock yourself in. It's not the easy win. You got to believe in what you're doing. You got to love what you're doing, and you got to not. You cannot stop until you gauge it as a success. Simple.
Simple. I've got the wearable devices at times every day in the morning. They're like, you haven't had your 8 hours of sleep. I've got businesses to run. I don't
exactly.
get my 8
You got your
hours
8
of sleep.
hours. What's 8 hours?
I wish, yes.
What's 8 hours? I'd love 8 hours. Oh,
I would love one. Yeah,
goodness.
one day. Hopefully, every weekend I tell myself this. Maybe this is the weekend I get to sleep and I don't.
I'll be honest. I mean, I get to bed pretty early, so I'm always like when the alarm goes at like 5 o'clock. Like I'm pretty much up and about, right? But yeah, I'm quite lucky like that. But my kids tend to try and keep me up as late as possible, especially at the moment with the World Cup on these crazy times.
Yes,
like
the
midnight
crazy
games,
times.
killing me.
I know. Yeah.
But no, I'm quite lucky with it.
Okay. What's one of the most expensive lessons you've had to learn in leadership?
Yeah, the most expensive lesson I've learned. I think you've got to go back to like the ego and being humble thing. Like, this is probably only 5 years ago. I was dealing with a particularly difficult person, really, and not based here. Actually, one of our other offices in Asia, a particularly difficult person, and I lost it. I couldn't hold it back anymore. I lost it, and it was the wrong thing to do. We lost the business. It didn't look very good on me, and I was like, that's just not me. It's not me. And that wasn't really ego getting in the way. It was just had to learn. I learned straight after. You've got to go back and understand. You need to be humble about this. It's not personal. It's just business. And that was it. And I think, we lost the business, and that was a detriment to our business at the time. So I still regret that today, but that was a pretty expensive lesson to learn. Yeah, but thankfully, the great thing is, now I know that it's not something I'll do again.
Yeah. So that's it. You learn something. Okay. Let's say you wake up tomorrow morning. You've got $100 to your name, no network, no company, nothing, and you have to start all over again. What would you do first?
Oh, crikey. Wow. $100. What would I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to give you my Jordan.
Yes,
I have to
please.
do my Jordan Belfort analogy now. I would go to the supermarket and with my $100, and I would do a deal with the supermarket for a range of drinks, soft drinks, chocolates, dips, crisps, all that kind of stuff. I get a great deal from them. I'll put it in a big cooler box. I'll go down to the beach and I'll be selling it on the beach. That $100 would turn into 150 with the extra margin I put on top, probably more like 200. I'd do that all day. I reckon by the end of the day, I'm at $500. That $500, I do exactly the same thing the next day. I reckon by the end of 2-3 months doing that $100 would turn into 10K. Then that 10K I'd invest into other mini businesses and look for it to grow.
There you go.
There's a quick one for you.
Yeah, it's a quick one.
Any young
That's
entrepreneur
amazing.
listening, go and buy a load of Mars bars and Diet Cokes
go
from
get
the
some
shop.
Mars bars.
I took that. Listen, it's a bit unfair of me to give you that analogy, but that's what Jordan Belfort did, and I've always, I've told that story to my kids a load of times. So, if you need to make some money, there's easy ways to make it. You just got to graft. Go for it. Consistency, discipline, work harder than anyone else. That's it.
And that's it. Okay, let's get into some rapid fire. Quick rapid fire.
All right.
Just 4 or 5 questions for you. One marketing trend that you think is completely overrated.
One marketing trend that's overrated. Oh, that is toughie. I'm going to be really debatable here. Outdoor.
Huh?
Outdoor.
Really? Overrated. Very expensive too.
Expensive, overrated, not able to measure. Outdoor.
Yeah. Oh, UAE's
debatable.
Not the right market to
I'll
say
have
that.
a lot of questions on that one.
Yes,
Yeah. Never been a fan. Doesn't do anything for me. Never enticed me to spend.
Okay. Best advice you've ever received?
Be humble.
Okay. One daily habit you never skip.
Cup of tea first thing in the morning.
Oh, really?
First thing in the morning. First thing I do, go and put the kettle on. I'm so English. So English. I'm from Northern England.
And yet he's having coffee here.
Yeah. World wars were won on great cups of tea. So, yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
One book, I think you've already said it, but maybe there's another one. One book every entrepreneur should read.
I mean, obviously the Verne Harnish one is a great business book, right? But I wouldn't want to say I'm a fanatical reader because I'm not. But if any of the books I have read, I would say any of the Mitch Albom books. They are not business books, but they are thinking books, and they get you thinking. It's called One Fine Day by Mitch Albom. Is one of my most favorite books. It's actually one of the only books I've ever read twice. Very easy read, but they get you thinking. They get you thinking about. So yeah, any of the Mitch Albom books.
All right, we'll put that in mind. Your favorite sports to watch, which as opposed to the one to play?
As opposed to playing, well, I watch football. Don't play too much football. I watch a lot of golf. I play a lot of golf. I train Muay Thai, but I watch a lot of the One Championship, which is really Muay Thai driven. I don't watch any UFC, really. I find it's just become a bit monotonous. They're the three.
Okay. All right. One last question. If we invited you back here in about 5 years' time, what do you think would be the biggest change that has happened in digital media in the next 5 years?
I actually think we're going to reverse and go back to what we were doing maybe 5 to 10 years ago in 5 years' time. I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I actually think that brands are going to now going to start understanding the value of actually branding as opposed to trying to go extremely lower funnel. I think that's really important. I think the value of quality content and quality social over the next 5 years is going to just get more and more important. So yeah, I think 5 years time, the industry itself is going to be a much better place. I would hope. I would hope that AI doesn't generate hate, which has a massive potential to do so. I would hope that the growth of AI will only help and spread positivity. And I think it will. But yeah, in 5 years' time, I think the digital marketing will have reversed back to where we were 5 years ago,
5 years ago.
but making it a lot more. I think it would be a lot more positive. I think it'd be a bigger win for agencies and for smaller businesses, but there'll also be a lot more quality. That's what I feel.
Awesome. And one advice you would like to leave the young listeners, kids, your kids' age, and they are just navigating into the big bad world. What do you want them to know?
All right. Three things. I did touch on them earlier. If you are going to be a success at anything, and your success can be financial, it could be climbing a mountain, it could be having a family, it could be meeting a partner, it could be anything. Whatever you term your success, doesn't have to be money. The only way you are going to get there is by three things. You be consistent, be disciplined, and you got to work harder than anyone else to get that success. It's only those three things. So if you're a young entrepreneur and you have to focus on anything, you put those three things in use, you can't go wrong. Be consistent, be disciplined, work harder than it.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you.
It's
It's
been a
so much fun.
pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us at Business Best Friends.
Pleasure.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Business Best Friends, and we'll see you in the next one.